Hey everyone, welcome back to Finance Sphere. Here is the latest update on the Clarity Act. After being repeatedly delayed in the U.S. Senate, a formal floor vote has finally been scheduled for Tuesday, September 15th at 2 p.m. I know a lot of you are sitting there thinking, another delay? Is this thing ever actually going to pass? The fatigue is real, and I completely get it. So, will the Clarity Act finally pass this September? In today's video, we're peeling back the layers to look at the real story behind this delay, the critical dynamics you won't see in surface level headlines, and taking a cold, hard look at whether this bill actually stands a chance in September. Democrats have been blocking the Clarity Act, demanding ironclad crypto ethics provisions for high ranking officials, including the president. Recently, reports surfaced saying Trump signed off on an ethics deal, sending the rumor mill into overdrive. But let's look closely at the fine print. That proposed compromise contained massive loopholes, letting Trump keep making money through World Liberty Financial and his personal meme coins, while throwing up a legal shield against future administrations, holding him accountable after leaving office. Trump reportedly pulled in an astonishing $1.4 billion from his crypto ventures last year alone. Unwilling to let that fly, Democrats are digging in their heels, demanding a complete mandatory divestment of all crypto business assets owned by the president and his family. On the surface, it looks like Democrats are putting a hard stop to Trump's conflicts of interest. But if you zoom in, there's a fascinating twist beneath the surface. If Trump gives in to Democrat demands and dumps his entire crypto holdings on the market, is he going to get hit with an astronomical capital gains tax bill? Not a chance. The Internal Revenue Code has a very specific mechanism for government officials. Under Section 1043, if a public official is forced to divest assets to resolve a conflict of interest, they can request a certificate of divestiture from the Office of Government Ethics. If they reinvest the proceeds in permitted property within 60 days, they can defer some or all of the capital gain, depending on how much they reinvest. In plain English, if Trump qualifies for this provision, it could give him a powerful legal mechanism to defer taxes on some or all of his crypto gains. Wait a minute, let's look at this situation from a slightly different angle here. From a pure portfolio strategy standpoint, when is the absolute best time for Trump to have the Clarity Act pass? Probably right at the tail end of the crypto bull market. He gets to sell at the market top under the guise of being forced to divest by Democrats, then reinvest the proceeds in permitted property within the 60-day window, potentially deferring some or all of the capital gain. What if, during those 60 days, the stock market pulls back, or U.S. Treasuries hit a sweet entry spot as safe haven assets? Trump walks away with the political high ground, having pulled off the ultimate portfolio rebalance, selling the top in crypto and buying the dip in TradFi, without paying a single dime in taxes up front. Now, just to be clear, I'm not spinning some conspiracy theory here, but as an investor, keeping an eye on where the Trump family's assets are heading might just give you a hint. Personally, I think whether the Clarity Act passes or not is no longer the real issue. The true focus is simply on when it will pass, along with the resulting shifts in key appointments and the financial system. We might not know the exact timing, but the direction the U.S. is heading is clear. So, if the White House and both parties sign off on this ethics agreement, does the bill immediately pass in September? The Senate returns from recess on September 14th, and they've slated this vote for literally the very next day, Tuesday, September 15th at 2 p.m. But scheduling a vote doesn't guarantee a win. To actually pass the Senate floor, the bill needs a 60-vote filibuster-proof majority. That means even if leadership brings it to the floor on the 15th, everything hinges on whether enough Democrats join Republicans to hit that 60-vote threshold. Sensationalist headlines and crypto Twitter are going to throw tons of noise at you, claiming it's passing tomorrow, or crypto is dead. Getting caught up in every piece of FUD and hype will burn you out real fast as a long-term investor. Moving into September, there are really only two signals that actually matter. First, whether a revised text incorporating the ethics compromise drops during the first week after the Senate returns on September 14th. In the U.S. Congress, setting a date for a floor vote doesn't mean negotiations are over. Instead, it acts as a strict deadline, pressuring both parties to bring a final agreement to the table by that day. So, during this recess, the White House and both Republican and Democratic leaders have to iron out the remaining issues with the ethics provisions and finalize a compromise. Second, whether negotiators can secure the necessary 60 votes ahead of the Tuesday, September 15th vote at 2 p.m. If they fail to secure the 60 votes required to overcome a filibuster, the Clarity Act will likely remain an ongoing political battleground. That is why negotiators are expected to focus all of their efforts on hitting this exact number. If the Clarity Act misses the September window and gets pushed past the midterms, its next stop is the lame duck session between mid-November and late December. And if it slips past the lame duck session, the current session of Congress officially expires. The bill dies automatically, and sponsors have to reintroduce it from scratch next year. That would push crypto regulation to the back burner and delay things by months, if not longer. That's why lawmakers will likely make a heavy push to get something done this year rather than burning all the progress they've made so far. As I mentioned earlier, I believe the US has already set its course when it comes to cryptocurrency. And this isn't a partisan issue. Both sides of the aisle share the exact same fundamental direction. The U.S. is treating the Clarity Act as much more than just financial or economic policy. It is being handled as a matter of national security. Clear regulatory frameworks are absolutely essential to protect the traditional financial system and maintain dollar hegemony as the global reserve currency. So, while we might see some political noise and growing pains along the way, the ultimate direction the U.S. is heading is perfectly clear. Therefore, rather than riding the emotional roller coaster of the daily news cycle, it makes much more sense to focus on that broader trajectory. Taking a long-term perspective and steadily accumulating your positions over time, such as through dollar cost averaging, is a much wiser way to navigate this market. That's all for today's breakdown. If this video helped you cut through the noise and focus on what actually matters, smash that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.